Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My dear students, Assalamu alaikum. We have already interacted in your class lectures basics of the orbit and general symptomatology and primary disorders. That is presentation of the orbital disease in the shape of proptosis. Now, having discussed that with the background knowledge of the diseases, today the topic of discussion is other diseases of the orbit like orbital cellulitis and thyroid eye disease, etc. So, first coming to the orbital cellulitis. Again, these are presentations of proptosis. These people present with forward bulging of the eye secondary to infection in the orbital cavity. Now, as you were told in brief review of basics of anatomy of the orbit, that orbit is a cavity which is pear-shaped cavity directed anterolaterally, apex posteriorly and base anteriorly. Base is formed by the orbital rim, anterior orbital rim. For purpose of description and for purpose of basic anatomical difference, it is divided into pre-septal element that is out of the orbit and proper orbit. How they are separated? As you know, we have upper and lower tarsal plates in the eyelids. From their top extends the levator palpebrae superioris in the upper lid and lower lid retractors in the lower lid, and from their anterior rim extends the orbital septum, which is dense fibrovascular tissue like an aponeurosis, and that extends from the tarsal outer margins and levator and retractor muscles to the upper and lower orbital rims respectively. Behind this tarsal plate and orbital septum is the orbital cavity proper, and in front of this is the preseptal tissue. So, infections of the area around the eye can be divided into preseptal cellulitis and orbital cellulitis. So, if a patient presents to you with a bulging eyeball, having history of sore throat and sinusitis for the last several days, weeks or months intermittently, and you see on examination that there is edema and erythema of the eyelids, maybe some congestion of conjunctiva, but eyeball itself is not bulging forward. It is the extraocular preseptal orbital tissue that is inflamed and that is bulging forward. Eyeball itself is at its place. In these cases, if you try to open the eye, you will see eyeball is fine. Generally, the etiology is extension of the infection from any boil above the lips that may extend to this area. It may frequently be the result of STI, that is the acute suppurative inflammation of glands of Zeiss, or sometimes it can extend from the lacrimal sac infections. On examination, you will see, as you are seeing in this picture, the eyelids are tender, erythematous, red, and edematous, swollen. They are very tender to touch. At the same time, this patient may be having general symptoms like fever, headache, and maybe associated features of sinus or nasal infection. They are treated by systemic antibiotics like augmentin, analgesics, and anti-inflammatory medicines. And if pus accumulates and you can feel it's soft, you can drain it by a simple needle, and that will result in resolution of the disease. This is not that much serious because orbital septum spreads its prevention posteriorly towards the orbit, and secondary involvement of sinus, that is cavernous sinus, which is a lethal infection. Now, how a patient of orbital cellulitis presents? Generally, the patient reports to you with a history of rapid onset of orbital swelling and pain associated with malaise and fever. It is frequently preceded by acute upper respiratory infections like sore throat or paranasal sinusitis. Most frequent sinuses to be involved are ethmoidal sinuses, and second one is the maxillary sinus. So extension of the infection from there can cause proptosis and orbital cellulitis. As I have already described you in the anatomy background of the disease of orbit, by definition it is the acute suppurative infection of the soft tissues of the orbit posterior to the orbital septum, and generally caused by Streptococcus pneumonia, Staph aureus, Streptococcus pyogenes, and Haemophilus influenzae. You should remember the names of these microorganisms whenever infections of the eye are asked, whether it is STI, preceptor cellulitis, orbital cellulitis, or others. So these are the microorganisms. They are always involved in suppurative infections around the eyeball. As mentioned, commonest cause is extension from the paranasal sinuses, but sometimes it may extend from the teeth, face, and lips. That's why we say respect a boil on the face. Why? Because if you keep on pressing any boil above the lip, the pus can be pushed into the vascular system and they drain through the inferior and superior ophthalmic veins, ultimately through the orbit and then into the cavernous sinus. So they can cause orbital cellulitis and sometimes extend to cause cavernous sinus infection and thrombosis. So you should be very careful in handling any boil or infection on the face, particularly above the lips. Secondly, penetrating injuries of the orbit with or without retention of foreign body can also be a cause, but that cause is clearly visible from the history and examination. Now, once the patient has reported to you with this history, you have to evaluate clinically. In the next slide, what are you seeing? That this patient had presented with the history I have mentioned. On examination, you see there is axial proptosis, eyeball is bulging forward. There is periorbital and eyelid edema, and the area is tender to touch. You can see in the right picture, while the eyelid is open, here not only there is erythema edema, you can see conjunctival congestion and chemosis. It is because of pressure on the ophthalmic vascular system and especially veins, and drainage is compromised by inflammatory process, so resulting edema and erythema of the conjunctiva. This was the presentation, and once open you see this. Now, having seen this, now you ask the patient to move the eyes in a typical 6 position of cardinal gaze: outward, inward, up, down, and rotate. This patient may have limitation in the movements because of the inflammation and edema in the orbit that prevents the active movements of the muscles of the eyeball. After seeing these extraocular movements, you should see the vision of the patient, because vision may be compromised by 2 factors. First, involvement of the optic nerve in the inflammatory process, and secondly, due to involvement of cornea and conjunctiva in inflammatory process. Primarily, the major factor is involvement of optic nerve in the inflammatory process or infective process, optic nerve itself or its meninges. So then, after seeing this vision, you should see the fundus of the patient to look for any inflammatory signs at the optic disc showing optic neuritis or swelling edema due to pressure of the inflammatory process on the optic nerve path and its meninges passing through the orbit. So it is mandatory to see a vision of the patient, fundoscopy, and extraocular movements. Having done this examination, you have made a provisional diagnosis of orbital cellulitis. Now look into the nasal cavity and get consultation of the ENT specialist to look for any infection in the paranasal sinuses or throat that may be extending into the orbital cavity. Meanwhile, you can ask for X-ray orbit and preferably CT scan of the orbit. For example, here in this patient, you are seeing lot of accumulation of this whitish echogenic material on the back of the eyeball. That means there is inflammation and edema of the orbital tissues, and that will confirm your diagnosis, clinical diagnosis, and confirmation by the radiological means. Now, what complications can result if this patient is unable to get the treatment or delayed treatment due to one reason or another? First, the pus can accumulate and get encapsulated in the shape of orbital abscess within the orbital cavity, and that would have to be drained surgically. Number 2, extension of the infection into the cavernous sinus, the most serious complication, because it will lead to cavernous sinus thrombosis, and then it can extend to meninges and brain abscess and even death of the patient. This can extend through to the meninges to the brain along with the meninges of the optic nerve through the optic canal as well. So one should be very, very meticulous and take this patient as an emergency if signs of any dizziness start to appear in this patient of orbital cellulitis. Next, it can lead to cranial nerve paralysis of all the nerves passing through the orbit, like optic neuropathy, leading to blindness, oculomotor, trochlear, and abducens nerve paralysis, leading to ocular motility disorders depending upon the nerve involved. Apart from radiological investigations, we have to carry out some lab investigations as well, like blood for complete picture, ESR and culture sensitivity. Orbital ultrasonography is, we have already discussed ultrasonography, X-rays, PNS, CT scan, orbit and sinuses in the previous slide. So that was part of investigation. This will confirm your diagnosis. Now, how to treat this patient? It is very important that we should take this patient as an emergency. Medical treatment as well as surgical. Medical, we have already looked for the cause and we may have to take assistance of ENT specialist as well. Now, for antibiotic therapy, we use triple regime. Triple regimen is, the purpose is broad spectrum systemic antibiotics like cephalosporins for management of gram-negative infection, quinolones, particularly this will cover gram-positive spectrum more prominently, and metronidazole, which is marketed as Flagyl, because it will also cater for some parasites as well as severe gram-negative agents, severely affecting gram-negative agents. They are more virulent and they are not susceptible to cephalosporins only. So cephalosporins and metronidazole will deal with various gram-negative infections and quinolones with gram-positive infections. The treatment has to be continued for 7 to 10 days or until the patient gets afebrile, and afebrile for at least 4 days. Only then we have to stop this triple regime. Remember triple regime. Non-steroidal anti-inflammatory agents are used to control pain and inflammation of the patient, and meanwhile we are looking for treatment of the cause. If there is sinusitis, throat infection, that has also been dealt with. Partly that will be treated with antibiotics, but other measures as advised by ENT specialist will be added to the treatment. Now, surgery is required only if the orbital abscess is found, and whenever there is abscess and encapsulated, that is not responsive to antibiotics unless we drain it first. So we drain the abscess and then antibiotics become effective. The other presentation of the orbit, very important, are the patients suffering from hyperthyroidism. Why? There is delayed hypersensitivity or autoimmune reaction to thyroglobulin, and as the orbital tissues resembles antigenically to this thyroglobulin, so this antigen antibody reaction continues to affect the orbital cavity by inflammation, edema, infiltration and deposition of fat and mucopolysaccharide, and ultimately, if not treated properly, it will lead to fibrosis of the orbital tissues and extraocular muscles. So exophthalmos in thyroid eye disease is an active protein of the eyeball due to immune-mediated inflammation in the orbit. The typical presentation of the patient is a middle-aged lady presenting with progressive unilateral or bilateral forward protrusion of the eyes. She also gives history of weight loss, insomnia and palpitations, and she may also complain of inability to close the eyelids while she is asleep and having persistent watering as well due to exposure keratopathy. Now, it is very important to examine the patient. You have taken the history, the patient is having thyroid disease, thyrotoxicosis, getting medicine for that, and getting consultation and treatment of the physician as well. So generally these people will be having tachycardia on examination, फिंगर ट्रेमर्स, आप आउटस्ट्रेच हैंड्स, इनको बताते हैं कि आप हाथ आगे करें, सीधे फ्रंट पे बल्ज करें और एक्सटेंड करें, और इसके ऊपर हम एक पेपर रखते हैं, सिंपल पेपर, और अगर पेपर हिलना शुरू कर दे, मूव करना शुरू कर दे, तो इसका मतलब है कि फिंगर ट्रेमर्स हैं, एंड दैट्स द वे वी एग्जामिन इट. दिस पेशेंट may also be having weight loss due to increased basal metabolic rate. Now, very important are the ocular signs of these patients. Apart from unilateral or bilateral exophthalmos, that is forward bulging of the eyes, with or without exposure keratitis, other signs that are not present in proptosis of general type are retraction of the upper eyelid, also known as the ripple sign, upper lid retraction. See here in this lower left picture, the eyelid is retracted very high, so it gives appearance of a sort of staring gaze and a frightened experience. I mean, if you see this patient, you may get afraid of it. What is this? Very, very starey gaze of the patient. Other sign is lid lag, known as Van Graffy sign. It is not mandatory to remember Dalrymple sign or Van Graffy sign. What you have to remember is that retraction of upper eyelid, which gives the eyes a staring gaze, and lid lag. Lid lag means ask the patient to look down, and the normal person is asked to look down. Both lower lid as well as upper lid come down. In these patients, upper lids lag behind the lower lids and eye remains wide open like this in this patient. So this is lid lag. Lid retraction and proptosis are being seen here. There proptosis. Along with proptosis, you can see some erythema, redness, and congestion of the conjunctiva. And you are seeing lid retraction. Here you are seeing lid lag. Upper lid does not move properly downwards while looking down. Other features are, as I mentioned, conjunctival congestion and puffy eyelids, puffy and swollen eyelids as a result of edema due to raised intraorbital pressure. Very important are the vision threatening complications that may be due to optic nerve dysfunction. Generally, optic nerve gets entrapped in 5% of the patients suffering from thyroid eye disease and leads to real deterioration resulting in disc edema, papillaritis, and optic neuropathy, and sometimes late optic atrophy as well. That will be permanent loss of vision. We should be very, very vigilant. Exposure keratopathy leads to corneal ulcers and opacities as a result of recurrent ulcers, and these opacities will lead to visual deterioration. Restrictive myopathy due to restriction of the muscles, entrapment of the muscles in the inflammatory process. The muscles get inflamed and ultimately healed by edema and finally scarring and fibrosis. So they limit the movement of eyeball and they press the eyeball from various directions. And this pressure raises intraocular pressure and sometimes leads to deviation of the eye and double vision or diplopia. So this may also lead to some sort of visual disability, but main vision threatening complications are optic nerve dysfunctions due to entrapment and exposure keratopathy. ये याद रखिएगा. These should be known to you, the vision threatening complication. इसीलिए हम क्या करते हैं कि whenever the patient is having vision threatening complication are likely to have these complications as a result of thyroid disease, we always look for the vision of the patient and we do fundoscopy or ophthalmoscopy to see the status of the optic disc. Having diagnosed clinically, again we go for laboratory investigation like serum thyroid level, TSH, T3 and T4 levels, and radiological investigations as mentioned earlier. They are done in all the cases of proptosis like ultrasonography, CT scan and MRI scan. And in addition, in thyroid eye disease, we will go for thyroid scan as well to confirm the thyroid eye disease is really related to thyroid or not. Treatment. Once diagnosed, treatment is in collaboration with endocrinologist or physician. Systemic iodide and anti-thyroid drugs. In mild cases, steroids are used systemically to reduce edema and inflammation in the dose of 1 mg per kilogram body weight for 2 to 3 weeks or even longer periods, and they may be more than one courses. Topical lubricants, eye drops and gels. If they don't work, then torsotherapy. Torsotherapy means it may be central or lateral. We fuse the tarsal blades of upper and lower eyelids to protect the cornea and concava. That is surgical procedure. And ultimately, if it is beyond this surgery of torsotherapy and lubricants, and bulging is getting big and big, then we go for arbitrary decompression, in which we remove the excess soft tissues in the orbit by various routes, and that lead to decompression of the cavity and reduction of the proptosis. Now that was all about thyroid eye disease. इसमें सिर्फ याद रखने वाली बातें क्या हैं जो आपके लिए ज़रूरी हैं, जो हमने डिस्कस किया। एक तो ये कि थायराइड आई डिजीज में आपने देखना ये है, यहाँ पे देखिए इस स्लाइड को, कि यू हैव टू सी अदर साइंस अपार्ट फ्रॉम प्रोप्टोसिस लाइक लिड डिटेक्शन एंड लिड लैग, एंड यू हैव टू सी वेरी थ्रेटनिंग कॉम्प्लिकेशंस ऑफ थायराइड आई डिजीज। वो कौन सी हैं? ऑप्टिक नर्व डिस्फंक्शंस ड्यू टू एंट्रैपमेंट एंड एक्सपोजर केराटोपैथी। ये दोनों चीज़ों में से ऑप्टिक नर्व डिस्फंक्शन इज मोस्टली मोर सिवियर इन थायराइड आई डिजीज एज कंपेयर टू अदर कॉज ऑफ प्रोप्टोसिस। So, what is reverse of exophthalmos or proptosis is enophthalmos. Enophthalmos is by definition a condition in which the eyeball is displaced backward. That eyeball is getting sunken. What may be the causes? Aging. In elderly people, there absorption of orbital fat. Similarly, Horner syndrome. You should know what is Horner syndrome. Horner syndrome is the result of damage to the cervical sympathetic chain due to certain tumors or inflammations in the apex of the lungs area or root of neck, and that will lead to Horner syndrome. इसमें क्या होता है? इसमें एक तो इस नेक्स्ट पेज पे आ जाए, मैंने आपको प्रोजेक्ट किया व्हाट इज सीन इन हॉर्नर सिंड्रोम। There are certain features like there is mild ptosis. This is normal eye. This patient is having left Horner syndrome. So there is mild ptosis of left eye by 1 millimeter. इसमें MRD जो नॉर्मली इसमें नॉर्मल बंदे में कितना होता है MRD अबाउट 4 मिलीमीटर, इसमें 3 मिलीमीटर है, इसमें 2 मिलीमीटर। इन दोनों पेशेंट में किसी हद तक हॉर्नर सिंड्रोम के साइन हो सकते हैं, स्पेशली इसमें। ये है ब्राइट लाइट में। ब्राइट लाइट में देयर इज माइल्ड टोसिस। डिम लाइट क्या होती है? जब कम लाइट में ले जाएंगे दो चीज़ देखेंगे। अब इसमें देख रहे हैं आप, एक तो टोसिस है किसी हद तक, दूसरा नॉर्मल लाइट जो है इसमें प्यूपिल इज मिड डायलेटेड और ए बिट डायलेटेड, वेयर एज इन दिस हॉर्नर सिंड्रोम लेफ्ट आई प्यूपिल इज रिलेटिवली मायोटिक और कंस्ट्रिक्टेड। तो सिंपैथेटिक एक्टिविटी कम हो जाती है, तो एज द रिजल्ट डायलेटर मसल वीक हो जाता है, सप्लाई नहीं आ रही उसको, तो पीपल कंस्ट्रिक्ट हो जाती है ड्यू टू अनअपोजिशन ऑफ स्फिंक्टर मसल। ऐसे ही इस आम में थोड़ी सी यू कैन सी अबाउट 1 मिलीमीटर टोसिस मोर देन द नॉर्मल। इसमें 3 मिलीमीटर है और आपका आ रहा MRD, तो 3 मिलीमीटर में इट इज़ नो टोसिस। यहाँ पे 1 मिलीमीटर टोसिस आ गई, 2 मिलीमीटर आ गया इसका MRD। MRD इज मार्जिन रिफ्लेक्स डिस्टेंस एज वी हैड डिस्कस्ड इन टोसिस। डिम लाइट में ले जाएंगे तो आप इसमें और इंटरेस्टिंग चीज़ देखेंगे। डिम लाइट में इसकी आँख अफेक्टेड आई इज माइल्डली डायलेटेड, वेयर एज द नॉर्मल आई इज फुली डायलेटेड, एंड MRD 4 मिलीमीटर इसमें हो गया, इसमें MRD 2.5 मिलीमीटर, यानी कि जो टोसिस इसमें 1 मिलीमीटर यहाँ पे थी वो 1.5 मिलीमीटर होगी। टोसिस भी थोड़ी बढ़ जाती है इफ़ यू गो इनटू डिम लाइट। नो कन्फर्म कैसे करते हैं? we instead a drop of cocaine, 10% cocaine in the eyes, the normal eye people get fully dilated and MRD gets more than normal तो 4 मिलीमीटर होता है, इसमें बढ़ के MRD कितना हो जाएगा तो 6 मिलीमीटर। आई एक्चुअली रिट्रैक्शन हो गया, जिस तरह से थायराइड आई डिजीज में हो जाती है, ऐसे हो जाता है कोकेन डालने के बाद नॉर्मल आई में। इस आई में क्या हुआ, इट हैज जस्ट गॉन अबव द position of ptosis, it is still 0.5 millimeter less than the normal. So this is a confirmatory test that this eye is showing signs of Horner syndrome. तो ये Horner syndrome याद रखिएगा, it is a common cause of inophthalmos, not only the common cause but it will be asked as a separate question in neuroophthalmology. तो क्या हुआ इसमें, there is mitosis, there is constriction of the pupil and there is inophthalmos. Next, trauma or broad fracture of the orbit can also lead to this inophthalmos. A small eye of the child at the birth, microphthalmia or thyroid bulbi resulting from chronic inflammation can also lead to the same problem. Now, another very important topic is broad fracture of the orbital floor. ये बहुत कॉमन होता है। हिस्ट्री क्या होती है कि आमतौर पे पेशेंट प्रेजेंट ऐसे करता है, वो या तो क्रिकेट खेल रहा होता है और जो शॉर्ट कवर पोजीशन में खड़ा होता है जस्ट इन फ्रंट ऑफ द बैट्समैन एंड नॉट वेयरिंग द हेड गियर, वो हिट करता है बैट्समैन तो बॉल सीधी जाकर लगती है ऑर्बिट पे, वो फ्रैक्चर कर देती है, ब्लोड फ्रैक्चर ऑफ द फ्लोर ऑर्बिट। या लड़ाई होती है लोगों में तो मुक्का मारता है, ब्लो मारता है उसको दूसरा बंदा किसी को इस चीक पे, उससे हो जाता है। ये दो कॉमन काज होती हैं। तो बाय डेफिनेशन इट इज ब्लोड फ्रैक्चर ऑफ द ऑर्बिट इज यूज्ड टू डिस्क्राइब अ स्पेसिफिक टाइप ऑफ ऑर्बिटल फ्रैक्चर व्हिच इज नॉट एसोसिएटेड विद एनवायरनमेंट ऑफ ऑर्बिटल रिम। एनाटॉमिकली ऑर्बिटल रिम इज वेरी स्ट्रांग, वो फ्रैक्चर नहीं होता। जब ब्लो चल लेता है बॉल से या कोई बॉक्सिंग करते हुए मुक्का लग जाता है या वैसे लड़ाई में मुक्का लग जाता है या कोई शार्प या ब्लंट एज ऑब्जेक्ट को मारता है आपको इस एरिया में, तो आई बॉल इज स्पेयर्ड बाय नोज एंड अपर ऑर्बिटल मार्जिन। सो फ्रैक्चर नहीं होता मार्जिन का, मार्जिन इज स्ट्रांग बोन। तो ब्लो पास थ्रू द मैक्सिलरी साइनस, यहाँ से इधर लगी ना बॉल आप देख रहे हैं, ब्लो यहाँ से पास हुई मैक्सिलरी साइनस से और वेव जाती है थ्रू द मैक्सिलरी साइनस एंड फ्लोर ऑफ द ऑर्बिट इज वेरी थिन बोन दैट गेट्स फ्रैक्चर इन रिस्पॉन्स टू ट्रॉमा हियर इन दिस रीजन। बड़ी बॉल है वो आई बॉल भी बच गई जो हिटिंग एजेंट है उसके साथ, और लोअर रिम भी फ्रैक्चर नहीं हुआ। फ्रैक्चर क्या हो जाके थ्रू ब्लो पासिंग थ्रू द मैक्सिलरी साइनस एंड फ्रैक्चर हुआ आपका फ्लोर ऑफ ऑर्बिट का। एनीथिंग लार्जर देन 5 सेंटीमीटर जो ऑर्बिट का एरिया इससे बड़ी होगी 5 सेंटीमीटर यानी 2 इससे बड़ी होगी कोई भी बॉल या ब्लो, वो आई बॉल को बचा लेगी, उससे फ्रैक्चर होगा। क्लिनिकल फीचर क्या है इसके, इस पिक्चर में देखिए, इधर ब्लो हुआ, यू आर सीइंग लैसिरेशन, edema and erythema of the eyelids and there is some anophthalmos and then congestion of the conjunctiva and then you will see anesthesia of this region of the face just above the lip, eyelid से लेके नीचे upper lip तक anesthesia होगा because of involvement of this infraorbital nerve or sometime there is involvement and entrapment of the inferior rectus and inferior oblique muscles in the trauma and fracture elements as seen in here. Ask this patient to look up. The patient will not be able to look up with affected eye as much as with other eye and patient be having diplopia or double vision once patient is looking up. Sometime with this trauma there may be damage to the eyeball like subluxation of the lens and hemorrhages, and in this picture you are saying this patient actually has the problem. क्या है आप देखें, इसकी पिपल लेफ्ट आई की नॉर्मल है, यहाँ पे पिपल इसकी डायलेट हुई हुई है इन दोनों पोजीशन में। क्यों डायलेट होगी पिपल, देयर मे बी 2 रीजंस। फर्स्ट, ड्यू टू ट्रॉमा देयर इज पैरालिसिस ऑफ द स्फिंक्टर मसल ऑफ द पिपल और देयर मे बी डैमेज टू द ऑप्टिक नर्व दैट सीरियस। उसमें क्या होगा कि पिपल ये लाइट से रिएक्ट भी नहीं करेगी बिकॉज ऑफ डैमेज टू द अपर नर्व एंड ट्यूब डायलेट हो जाती है उसमें. दिस इज वेरी सीरियस, यू हैव टू लुक फॉर दिस. क्या साइंस हुए? एडिमा एंड एरिथीमा ऑफ द ऑर्बिट, some maybe laceration, difficulty in the movement of the eyeball, particularly uplifting of the eyeball due to entrapment of the inferior muscles. Then vision may be affected and people may be dilated. There may be damage to the eyeball itself and anesthesia of the cheek above the lip. ये आपने चीज़ें देखनी है, इसमें ये साइन कंफर्म करने हैं आपने. इन्वेस्टिगेशन रूटीन की वही है जो पहले बताई थी. प्लेन एक्सरे, उसमें स्पेशल चीज़ जो देखनी होती है प्लेन एक्सरे में, दैट इज नोन एज टीयर ड्रॉप साइन. टीयर ड्रॉप साइन ये होता है कि यहाँ पे एक्सरे लिया जाता है पेशेंट की इस जगह पे, आई का लेटरल एक्सरे लेते हैं आप उसमें, तो यू सी affected eyeball is sinking into the orbit and that looks at the lower level as compared to the other eye. बाकी टोमोग्राफी मीन्स स्कैन, सीटी स्कैन एंड एमआरआई स्कैन वो हम कर लेते हैं, उसमें गो टू फर्दर कंफर्मेशन ऑफ द फ्रैक्चर. वो यही बता देता है कि फ्रैक्चर कितना है, 50% या उससे ज़्यादा इन्वॉल्वमेंट है फ्लोर की या उससे लेस, आगे हम डिस्कस करेंगे. ट्रीटमेंट का एम क्या है? टू प्रिवेंट परमानेंट वर्टिकल डिप्लोपिया ड्यू टू एंट्रैपमेंट ऑफ द मसल्स इन द फ्रैक्चर एंड कॉस्मेटिकली अनएक्सेप्टेबल इन ऑप्थेल्मास दैट मे बी रिजल्ट फ्रॉम retraction of the globe posteriorly into the maxillary sinus, so that has to be managed. First, दो इसमें एक चीज़ याद रखनी है आपने जो भूलनी नहीं है. If the damage is less than 50%, यानी fracture is less than half of the floor of the orbit, then it is unlikely to go to these complications. So we will keep the patient under observation as there is no herniation of the eyeball down into the maxillary sinus, and within 2 to 3 weeks the diplopia will improve as the muscle entrapment will be relieved. Only treatment is antibiotics and non-steroidal anti-inflammatory agents to prevent infection and inflammation in this area, and the patient is kept under observation. Things will improve within 2 to 3 weeks. However, if in first place we have seen that fracture has involved half or more than half of the orbital floor with the entrapment of the muscles, especially inferior oblique and inferior rectus, the chances are there that this will persist and is not going to go and will cause permanent damage and disability, and that should be dealt with surgical treatment. उसमें क्या करते हैं हम? We open the area going just below the eyeball and we release the muscles from the entrapment, both inferior rectus and as well as inferior oblique, and then place a tissue in to cover the gap in the floor of orbit, either by patient's own bone taken from bone chips from iliac crest or costal cartilages, that is autograft. And if patient is unwilling for that, then we can use Teflon plates. They can be designed and cut to fill the fracture area, and then eyeball goes back into its normal position and we are not left with any disability. That was this fracture of floor of orbit, in which blow was on the cheek in the zygomatic bone and lower rim of the orbit here. जो भी चाहे वो क्रिकेट बॉल लगी थी या मुक्का लगा था या कुछ भी लगा था, यहाँ लगा था. अगर इसको ये इस जगह लगे, आगे दिखाइए, इस पिक्चर में देखते हैं आप, लेफ्ट आई में इसको यहाँ मुक्का लगा है अंदर वाली साइड पे, नेजर साइड पे, तो नेजर बोन की तरफ से ब्लो आया है, तो वो ब्लो जाके डैमेज करेगा पीछे. यहाँ बोन अगेन फ्रैक्चर नहीं होगी, बेस रूट स्ट्रांग होती है, वो ब्लो जाएगा और वो जो एथमेटिक साइनस हैं मीडियल साइड पे उनको फ्रैक्चर करेगा, और फ्रैक्चर होके ब्लो फ्रैक्चर उधर से आएगा और वहाँ से ऑर्बिट इन्वॉल्वमेंट हो जाएगा. इसमें स्पेशली बात क्या होगी कि बिकॉज ऑफ लॉट ऑफ एयर इन द एथमेटिक साइनसेस देयर विल बी सबक्यूटेनियस एम्फाइजीमा. यहाँ पे आपको क्रैकलिंग साउंड आएगी जब आप इसको पाल्पेट करेंगे. दूसरी बात क्या होगी कि जब इसकी आपकी स्वेलिंग कम हो जाएगी आफ्टर सम टाइम, इसमें क्या होगा, आई बॉल हैज गॉन ए बिट इनवर्ड. उसमें क्या था, ब्रॉड फ्रैक्चर ऑफ फ्लोर में आई बॉल हैड गॉन डाउन, इट वाज डिफिकल्ट टू लिफ्ट इट बिकॉज ऑफ एंट्रैपमेंट ऑफ इंफीरियर रेक्टस एंड इंफीरियर ओब्लिक. इसमें क्योंकि अंदर तरफ मीडियल तरफ से डैमेज है, इस पेशेंट में क्या हुआ, इसमें एंट्रैप हो गया. अब इसमें पेशेंट का ना इधर देखें, इस तरफ देखें, ये लेफ्ट आई है इस पेशेंट की जो फ्रैक्चर है, इसमें क्या हुआ कि पेशेंट लेफ्ट को देख गया, राइट आई लेफ्ट को देख रही है, लेफ्ट आई इज नॉट गोइंग आउट, क्योंकि यहाँ मीडियल रेक्टस एंट्रैप हो गया है फ्रैक्चर में, एंड दैट मीडियल रेक्टस इज नॉट अलाउइंग आई टू मूव आउटवर्ड्स। सो एंट्रैपमेंट इसमें मीडियल रेक्टस की होगी। ट्रीटमेंट का वो मोस्टली ये इतना सीरियस नहीं होता, इट रिजॉल्व इन 15 to 20 days and it is generally observation and antibiotics and anti-inflammatory agents that cure it. But in rare cases, we have to intervene surgically if it is not coming back to normal. Thank you very much. This was all about the respiratory diseases. I will send you assignment that you will complete it by 1 p.m. and send it to my PA, Umar, as usual. And that will also confirm your presence in the class and you will be marked present. You are free to ask any question and queries in the orbit diagram system, whatever we have discussed in this week or previous weeks. I am ready to answer the question, and I am not seeing your questions. Mind, I am not seeing your questions frequently. You should ask questions in the group, or you can ask questions personally on my own cell number. I am always available to respond to your question. Thank you very much.